Okay, so in this video, I'm going to talk about something which helps me to focus enormously. It helps me focus, especially in the mornings. It helps to keep my emotions in check and just a whole bunch of stuff. And it's really, really good for my productivity. Now, this is something that a lot of people have tried before. Most people have actually heard of, and that is intermittent fasting. Now, before you click off this video thinking, I've tried this before, oh, it didn't work, something like that. I actually have, I think, a unique perspective on this because I did try it and I've been on and off for like 12 months now. But I fast between 8 p.m. in the evening and then 12 p.m. at noon, so I have like a 16-hour window there where I sleep as well, but I don't actually eat. But this is like a bit of a hack, a bit of a secret weapon that a lot of people that maybe have heard of, but they're not utilizing, and they probably should. But if you're not familiar with me, my name is Ben Lister. I help agency owners to save thousands and thousands of hours by sometimes doing their outreach even for them, so they can start working on the agency rather than working in the agency. So like I said, I fast for like 16 hours per day, and I could probably push this a little bit further if I wanted to. But what I would say is that if you're going to push this to like the 20-hour mark, you're being pretty extreme there. Like the amount of hunger that you're going to get and the gap that you're going to have between your body actually getting nutrients is very large there. And if you are trying to hit a significant number of calories, maybe if you're trying to put on weight or anything like that, you've got like 4 hours to eat like 3,000, 4,000 calories. So that's probably not going to work. So I would recommend having at least a 2-meal window where you can eat it like midday and then you can eat in the evening as well. And that's what works for me. So the benefits that I get from this are pretty big, right? I have lots more energy, which is, it kind of doesn't make sense. You kind of think that eating gives you energy, and I think it does in the long term, obviously, but in the short term it doesn't. So when I eat, I always feel sluggish. I always feel like a lack of motivation, a lack of energy. I just want to relax for at least an hour after that, if not longer. Sometimes it depends what I eat. So by not eating in the morning, I don't have that initial crash, so I can start my day without focusing on food and I can just go to work basically. And it also helps with my focus as well, because I have one less thing to think about. I have a pretty busy morning routine. I have a pretty busy schedule where I want to work out, I want to do this, I want to do that, and a whole bunch of different stuff. If I then add food in there, I've got to really plan that out carefully, because if I eat before I work out, maybe that can make me sluggish on my workout. If I eat before I do reading, for example, if I eat before I start my business day, that can always decrease focus and it can always make me a little bit more sluggish. So I'd have to really plan that out. So just getting rid of it in the first place is a huge benefit, because it's one less thing to do. It's something that actually gives me benefit by removing it. For example, if I were to remove exercise, that would be a complete net negative. There would be nothing good about that, but removing food in the morning is actually a net positive. So it's actually a good thing to get rid of it in this instance. And another thing that people don't really touch on is it actually helps you quite a lot with sleep, because you have this strict time where you don't eat after 8 p.m, 7 p.m, whatever it is, and you sleep at 10 p.m or 11 p.m. You have like a solid 3-4 hours there where you are definitely not eating and you are fasting. And because of this, your body does not have to digest food while you are sleeping. It doesn't have to digest anything after you've actually finished that last meal of the day. So you have like a 3-4 hour window there where the body can digest food, and at this point, by the time you go to sleep, you have not an empty stomach almost, but your body's done digesting for the day. And this is really important because this is a bit of bro science. I don't really know how it works, but to actually digest food takes an awful lot of calories. There was a graphic that I saw that went through different types of calories that your body burns, and you think that your body burns calories by walking about, by exercise, and by running, but it actually doesn't. One of the main sources of calories that the body takes is through digestion. So when it's digesting food, when it's just simply at rest, when it's just operating, the heart is beating, just normal stuff like the body does on a general basis, that's what takes the most of the calories, which is kind of surprising, but it's good to know, and it's very interesting. And I've had this many times before where I'm eating at like 9-10 p.m. sometimes if I've gone out to dinner, or I just eat something after I've had my evening meal, and I'm eating an hour before I sleep, sometimes even like 30 minutes before I sleep, and it is just the worst night's sleep ever. I very quickly realized that this is something that is really affecting my sleep. You don't need a fitness tracker, you don't need a sleep tracker to realize that. You can very easily make a note of what you're doing and simply draw a correlation to the fact that you have ate something very late and you're having a terrible night's sleep. And that's basically what I've noticed quite a lot for me myself. And just to point out, obviously anything that I say here is my individual experience, right? You might be able to eat at 11 p.m. and then sleep like a baby all night and have no issues and not wake up in the night, and that's completely fine. Obviously, congratulations to you. That would be pretty fantastic if I could do that. So everyone has got to take these words with a bit of a pinch of salt and obviously do their own testing and understand if this actually works for them personally. Now, the reason this actually works, this is again another bit of bro science, is basically the idea of 3 meals per day. I'm pretty sure it's like not even 150 years old. It's very, very new, and people didn't have the chance to eat 3 meals a day simply because they didn't even store food. The invention of farming is only, a few hundred years old, a few thousand years old. It's not as if this has been going around for hundreds of thousands of years. Humans were still very much like wild animals, only a couple thousand years ago. They would just eat when they could, and there wasn't really much choice about that. Now that we have choice, and obviously you can just go down to the shop and get whatever you like, and you can buy food whenever you want, now we have this idea of 3 meals per day. And I think it makes sense in terms of calories. Humans get a lot of nutrients and stuff like that, but we are still these animals that were once roaming around on the plains of Africa, and we used to eat similar to how a lion would eat, for example, because obviously humans were predators, still are, but we would hunt different animals and stuff, and then we would eat at the end of the day once we've actually completed that hunt. And if you notice, like, everyone will notice this, right? After you've had like a big dinner, like after you've had a huge evening meal, all you want to do is you just want to sit in front of the TV and relax. You don't want to do anything energetic. You don't want to actually, put yourself out there. And that's why if you are going and having a huge lunch, for example, or a big meal in the morning, after that, you don't really want to work. You feel like a lack of motivation. You feel a bit tired. You go back into feeling sleepy again. And it's the same thing. If you ever see like packs of lions, if you watch like Planet Earth or whatever it is, like National Geographic, they show like the lions like hunting and stuff, and when they all eat together in a big pack, they don't do anything after because their work is done. But if you imagine like a human 2,000 years ago, the only two things that they were thinking about was eating and reproducing, right? And if they are eating and they've already eaten and they're full, they've had enough food, then that's like one thing that they don't have to worry about anymore. So they only have like one thing to think of. So they don't want to work, they don't need to hunt again, they don't need to do anything else. And so if you eat, you almost put yourself in that stage where you don't need to hunt anymore. But you still do, of course, because just because you eat doesn't mean your business is going to run itself, right? You still need to work on your business. And so by having that lack of food really just keeps you in that mind where you're still working and you're still active. And this like 5-6 hour window where you have in the mornings is going to mean that you're actually still hunting as such. You are working on your business and making sure that you're actually putting the work in, and you're not being lazy, and you're not feeling like you want to slouch all day. And there's a lot of people out there who will say this. People do run big businesses. They'll say they operate on 1 meal per day, which is kind of extreme, and you probably have to work your way down to that. But the reason they do this is they like actually being hungry, because it means that they keep working. And this is basically how I feel in the morning. I don't do it in the afternoons because I think maybe that's a bit extreme, and maybe eventually I could get to that point, but I don't really need to do that. But people could just have 1 meal a day, and a lot of the top entrepreneurs do this, so they're literally hungry all the time, which is kind of crazy, but you can see why it works. And so if you've never done this before and you're actually interested in starting it, what I would say is that you are going to get very hungry. If you run the same hours, 8 p.m. till midday, you're going to get very, very hungry initially to start with. It's going to take about 7 days to get to that point. And the reason for this is the human body just expects you to eat when you've always eaten. So if you always have a sugary snack after you've eaten your evening meal, for example, your body will just expect that sugar, and you'll start to feel like eating something sweet and eating something with a lot of sugar in it. Same with anything, right? If you eat something at the start of the day and you do that, if you've done that for the last 20 years of your life, eventually your body will just expect that. And so when it stops, when it doesn't get this breakfast, when it doesn't actually get what it's been having for the last 20 years, it's going to start making you hungry, and it's going to start realizing that you're missing out on something because you've had this for the whole time and now you don't. And so you have to remember that. And once the body gets used to it, which will only take like 7 days or so, you can eventually get to that point where you're not really hungry in the morning, and you only get hungry once it's actually time to eat. So it's literally like 12 o'clock now. It's like midday for me, and so I'm about to eat, and my body is now hungry. I'm actually ready to eat now, whereas at 9 a.m, 10 a.m, I wasn't even hungry in the slightest, which is very strange. 5 years ago, I would have been absolutely starving if I hadn't have eaten at like 9 a.m. So that's just basically how the body works. And you could probably do something where you actually push back the time that you eat progressively, rather than going from, if you eat right now at 8 a.m, that's a big jump to go 4 hours without eating. You could slowly push this back, right? So every week you go an hour back, and then you slowly get to that point. Whether you want to spend that much time doing this, or whether you just want to go all in and have a week where you're just hungry in the mornings and then eventually you get used to it, is obviously up to you. But there's definitely a few ways that you can try this out. So if you are looking for clients for your marketing agency, your service-based business, go ahead and click the first link in the description. We're not going to ask for your email or your phone number or anything like that. It's literally just a video of me explaining how my company works. You can check it out if you want, but if you just want to watch these videos and enjoy the content, that's completely fine. But yeah, if you like this video, go ahead and click the like button. Comment if you want me to cover anything specifically at all, or any experiences that you've had with intermittent fasting. And if you like this video, then subscribe and you'll see more. Appreciate you watching this one to the end. Cheers.